Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today's is going to be a bit serious. I know that I try to keep things very light around here, and I will continue to do that. This is going to be a rare exception where I get a bit serious. So last night in my live video, when I hit 500 subscribers, which thank you guys very much, by the way, very much appreciate that, I did a little giveaway, and when we were just kind of chatting on the live thing, somebody asked me why I don't review anything from San Remo or Ganzo or any of these companies that are known for, let's face it, making clones and quote-unquote tribute knives. Yes, I know that they do make a lot of their own original designs too, and I know that they make a whole lot of knives for other companies, and I'm sure that and I'm not picking just on those two. Those are just two that, you know, I know the name of. A lot of them put stuff out with no name whatsoever, or they change names all the time. So I'm not picking on those two specifically. I'm just talking about these Chinese companies that make clones or tribute knives, which is kind of the term we've started to use. For example, you know, there's several knives that are clearly a ripoff of this Chris Reeve large Sebenza that have another company's name on them, but it's clearly that design. And I picked these three to have out in front of me because these are three that are very commonly cloned. I know Cutlery Lover, love his channel. He knows a lot more about knives than I do, and seems like a pretty cool guy. He got fooled by a PM2 clone. He sent it in for service to Spyderco, and they were like, it's not real. So I mean, it's very easy to get fooled when you're buying these. And the Delica 4 also very often cloned or tributed. Yeah, so I'm just gonna take a moment and explain why I don't review stuff from those companies. Again, I do, I'm sure, but they have a real company's name on them that bought a contract to pay them to make them. You know, they didn't just pump them out themselves with no authorization. So I'm going to explain where and why I've drawn the line. First of all, it's not just to do with the fact that companies like that undercut the profits of the designers and engineers and craftsmen that rightfully deserve them and worked their asses off to design a good knife. That's number one, but it's not just that. I'm going to get a personal story here. Here's why. I'm in the bicycle industry. I have been for, oh my God, 25 years. I've been working in the bike industry. Been a pretty well-known bicycle reviewer and stuff for most of that time. I was a semi-pro mountain biker. I've worked at a whole lot of bike shops. I have personally witnessed the dangers of tolerating these cloning companies. And here's a story I'm going to tell you. A very good friend of mine made a really nice carbon fiber fork for road bikes. A Chinese company started cloning them, putting his name on them and everything. They were pure clones, not this tribute, this new word that we've come up with that I don't particularly care for. But it had his name on it. Woman bought one. She was riding. It broke. She was pretty badly injured, temporarily paralyzed. Last I knew, she could still walk again, so thank goodness for that, I guess. But obviously, her insurance company sued him. He was very quickly able to prove, I didn't make this. This isn't mine. This is a clone. This is a copy. You'd think that would be end of story. Cut and dry court case, right? It wasn't. And I know this because I wound up being an expert witness for his side. And he did wind up winning eventually. But the lawyers tried to argue that it was a design flaw, not the manufacturer's fault. So it was still his fault. He did wind up winning, but he spent 2 years in court and went out of business because he spent too much money on lawyer bills. And it could happen. It could happen here too. It could happen. You know, it's lawyering and the whole lawsuit thing. We live, unfortunately, in a very litigious society, and I'm just not going to support those companies that willfully make complete copies of other people's stuff. I'm just not going to do it. I don't have anything against Chinese companies per se. Obviously, I love a lot of the more, you know, this is going to sound like an insulting term, real Chinese manufacturers. I do, like, you know, Best Tech, love them. They make some great stuff for very reasonable prices that's very hard for American companies to compete with. I don't mind the competition at all. You know, I love Real Steel, one of my favorite knife companies. And you guys apparently like them too, because this Megalodon review got a whole lot of clicks. Great knife. I like Rake. You know, I love my little Rake. I love Kaisers. I always forget that it's really hard to thumb flick that one. I like Kaisers. I like a lot of that stuff. And I don't have a problem with saying nice things about, for example, this Bird Caracara 2. I'm sure is made in the same factory as the guys that are pumping out the clones and pumping out the tribute knockoffs. I'm sure of it. But when Spyderco decided to make this and contract that manufacturer to make them, they signed off on it, and they're accepting the liability. And that's what my real concern is with these clones and these tributes, is I don't think they're only, morally questionable. I think they're dangerous to other companies, because I've seen it happen. I saw it firsthand. And I could tell you 3 or 4 other similar stories about things like that, where a faked product caused someone to get hurt, and the manufacturer of the real product got dragged into the lawsuit about it. Because you can't sue these Chinese guys, so the lawyers are just going to go after whoever they can get. So that is why. That is where I draw the line. I'm not knocking people who buy it. This isn't meant to be preachy. I'm just explaining my position. I have nothing against my fellow YouTubers that do review that stuff. I watch a lot of them. I won't watch one if it's a clear ripoff. But if it's an original design from Ganzo or something like that, I'll probably watch the video, because they do make some cool stuff. But I'm not going to buy it, because they also make clones and knockoffs and these quote-unquote tributes. So yeah, that is my feeling on this. I hope you guys understand that, and but you're never going to see him here. It's just, I do own a Ganzo multi-tool, and that was also a part of the decision process, is I was going to review that, and then I just kind of decided not to, because I just don't want to give them the views, I guess, because I don't want someone looking for that multi-tool. It's a great multi-tool, and it's their own design, and it's very reasonably priced, and it's a great value, but I just worry people would look at that and then start looking at other Ganzo stuff and start buying knockoffs and clones, and I don't want to support that. So this is where I personally draw the line. I'm not angry about it. I'm not knocking anyone who does review them or does buy them. It's just not my thing, never gonna be. So hope you guys can respect that. I've been Brian. Have a good one.